Hello, it's me, the editing fairy. I just wanted to pop in real quick to let you know that while we were setting up the recording for the episode, I messed it up and I accidentally ended up recording Mel's audio as well as my own on my track. So while I try to edit it out as best as possible, in some places you can still hear Mel's echo through my microphone. I realize that is very unpleasant and I'm very sorry about that. It was our first time recording, so I hope it won't happen again in the future. And I hope you can forgive this little mistake and have a good listen either way. Thank you.
So I don't know. This is awkward to me because I've never recorded a podcast before. Like it's the first time for me. I think it is the first time for you as well.
Yep.
I do listen to a lot of podcasts, but I never tried doing one. So do you listen to a lot of podcasts? Like, do you know the medium well, or?
Not really, to be honest. I do try and listen to some like economics and like current affairs related podcasts just to keep me updated and educated, but that's pretty rare these days.
Okay, so I know that I had to convince you a bit to do this thing. What is the thing you're most afraid of? Like, is being boring the most fearsome thing you can think of about the podcast, or is there something else? Like, I don't know, people won't like it or something like that?
I think it was mainly, if it was me just doing it by myself especially, which I don't think people really do podcasts by themselves.
They do.
But oh, they do in that case. See, I don't.
It's a very niche category, but there do exist people that talk to themselves.
I guess like the thing is, if I was like making this as my own project, it would be the fact that I think I would be too boring, and also I'd put in too much effort for like not much reward, basically. I know that sounds really lame and, like I'm seeking validation from outsiders, but that is the truth.
That's, I think, a worry that a lot of people have, especially people that do something creative that other people will see. There's always the thing of how much time I am spending to do this thing. Suppose you do the most amazing podcast or video or whatever, and you spend a lot of time putting all the pieces into place, and you are very happy with it, but even though you're very happy with it, if no one listens to it or watches it, even though you personally are happy with what you did, that's still not what like YouTube is for. Is it like a video with no views on YouTube is a bit of a...
Yeah, exactly. If you create any kind of content, if you write a book, if you make a song or whatever, if no one hears it, like, does it really matter? I mean, in some sense, if it is like important to you and like it was part of a process of, I don't know, like from one moment of your life to another, and you were going through a process and had to like express it or something like that, maybe that would work and that's important. But yeah, I guess I'm facing that also with me editing this video at the moment.
Yeah. I wanted to talk about your vlog in detail, actually, because like I think that's the most interesting thing that has happened to us in a while, like to the both of us. So
oh no, I hope that's not the most
oh yeah, it is. There's a huge spotlight on you now. So my thinking is that most, if not all, people that will listen to this, all two of them, will come from your video, because I'm thinking of releasing this as a companion to your video. But just in case there is that one person who listens to this and doesn't know what you do, could you maybe tell me and tell the audience what you do?
Okay, well, I guess I started trying to make YouTube videos in September of last year, basically documenting my exchange experience. I saw online that vlogging of universities and schools and that sort of thing has become quite popular, and when I was going on exchange, I was looking for vlogs from the university that I was going to, which is the University of Manchester, and I didn't find many vlogs of the University of Manchester, and so I was thinking to myself, like, they don't exist. I'm going there. Why not make these videos? Because I know how, stressful it can be before you go on exchange and how much excitement there is to see what it's like to actually study there. And so, yeah, I decided to basically start vlogging when I went on exchange. And not gonna lie, I have had a bit of traction on YouTube. I think because, again, there was that sort of gap in the market where there weren't as many University of Manchester vlogs. But also, in general, I think it's just a growing trend where lots of people want to see uni-related content. And I think that's because the people who grew up with watching YouTube, so people my age, and, younger and older, but roughly around my age, they used to be watching, people much older than them, and, that was just more entertainment content. But nowadays, it's more like you want to watch people who are your age going through similar experiences that you are. And so I think, I don't know, I've just seen that sort of growth on YouTube of university vloggers for some reason. And I'm going to be honest, I cashed in on it a bit. And so because I've had a bit of traction, I figured, this is sort of a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, if you will. I know this sounds really dramatic, but at this point, I'm not going to be at university again. And, I had one chance to film university vlogs, and I've sort of done that. And it's the reason why I have people coming to my channel who've not seen me before or who don't know me personally. And so I thought I would take a hold of this opportunity and continue making YouTube videos, although I'm still trying to work out what videos I'm gonna make now that it's not so structured and it's not so
now you don't have the gap in the market to fill anymore because you're not
exactly
in Manchester anymore. So yeah. So but my question is, you started making vlogs because you saw that there weren't many of them on YouTube, but if I can be frank, was this decision more of a I'm gonna do it to help the next people that go to Manchester on exchange be, I don't want to say safer, but more informed? Or was it a decision based on, oh, look, there's a gap in the market, I can fill it, and that can be the thing that pushes my viewership up, which it did, because you have some pretty successful videos with some thousands of views, which may not seem much, but what I'm saying is it seems to be a winning formula. But did you do it out of the kindness of your heart, or out of the kindness of you wanted to make videos that were watched by people, or was it both?
I think it definitely is both. I think at first it definitely started out more as I want to make these videos because these are the kind of videos I wanted to watch, and they just weren't there, I literally watched through some of the dodgiest University of Manchester videos from 8 years ago that just weren't relevant, and people were still flipping their flip phones, and so I did definitely want to make that kind of content that I wanted to see. And also because I do watch university vloggers myself, and I really enjoyed that content. And actually, it was a university vlogger in the UK that I was watching at the time that kind of made me want to apply for exchange. I actually do mention this in one of my videos. I don't know, it was kind of, I had this when you daydream about an experience sort of thing. And when I had this maybe I want to go on exchange sort of moment, I also kind of along those lines as well, I kind of wanted to vlog it. I don't know, it was just this strange thing that I had, and I talked to my friends a lot about it, and there was all this kind of, will I actually do this, or am I just gonna say I'm gonna do this? But I did actually do it. And I did actually start vlogging, mainly because I bought a camera, and then I was like, well, I gotta do this now. But I will say, as I, after I uploaded my first couple of videos and I saw that they were getting quite a few views, I actually had a YouTube channel in 2014 where I tried to make comedic sketches, and I put comedic in quote marks because I don't really think they were very funny. But, for me, when I uploaded my first uni vlogs, when I was on exchange, I did see those numbers climb at a rate that was not, my normal rate of, just having people who I know watch my videos.
Yeah, that's actually what I wanted to ask. I don't remember when I created my YouTube channel, but I've had a YouTube presence for a while, and periodically I just delete all of the older videos because I didn't like them anymore. So I think I had a channel since I was 14 or something. And to me, it seems baffling that there's sort of an uncanny valley. You do a video and it gets, 50 views, and then you see people on YouTube that have 500,000 views, and you're like, how does one get from having from nobody seeing your video to everybody or a lot of people seeing your video? Because as far as I understand it, the algorithm really likes to recommend things that a lot of people watch, and so if nobody watches it, nobody's gonna watch it, which is,
and then nobody watches it, and then nobody watches it. Yeah.
When you published your first Manchester vlog, was it like immediately you could see an upward trend, like a different trend than what you were used to?
Well, actually, yeah, because I uploaded my moving into a British University Hall vlog pretty soon after. Actually, I'm looking at the date now, and it was literally the day after I moved in. I was pretty quick with editing it. And at this point, everyone who was moving into the University of Manchester as a new student had obviously just moved in, just like me. And I think that is why I got quite a few more views at the time. I was just like speedy and on time. And I don't know why people who are moving into the same university are watching my move-in vlogs, but it's true because I had quite a few people who were actually new to the university comment or message me, or I met even one in person at university who watched my vlogs, and at that point I'd only uploaded like 2 or 3, you know. And
you
I don't
had the
think
true
it was...
celebrity experience, like you actually met fans in the wild. That is like...
Well, I met one person who was like, "Hey, aren't you that vlogger girl?" And I was like, wait, what? It was very strange. I will say it's much easier to be recognized at university. I was making vlogs about the university I was going to, and people who were going to the university were watching the vlogs, so that makes sense. I think if I was making any other videos and I had the amount of views or subscribers that I do have, I wouldn't have met them. But also, going back to your question about did I see the views climb instantly? I mean, it was hard to tell because as soon as I put the vlog up, I did put it on my Instagram. I told all my friends about it. And so you instantly have that friend spike. And also it was the first video I'd put up in 5 years. And so I did have like just that initial normal sort of viewership. But then over the like next couple of days, I think over the next week, I think within about a week or maybe a bit more, I had 1,000 views and I was like, that's more than normal. So yeah.
So the beginning wasn't strange, but that it kept climbing afterwards was that the views kept increasing after the point where you would reasonably assume that all your friends had watched it and your mom had watched it. And
yeah, exactly.
Okay, that is interesting to realize, like that since you published the video at the right time and there was a demand for that kind of video, and so you got swept up in the demand. And then of course since you kept making them, I assume that you had new people but also the same people watching all the subsequent ones, maybe talking about them to their friends and stuff.
Yeah, like the thing is, the good thing about making university content is that there are going to be people coming back to it for years to come. You know, I saw a spike in January, I think, and I had a couple of comments come in at the exact same time saying they'd received offers to the university and that they were watching all my vlogs. And so that's kind of, I don't know if I don't know if I'm recommending you go out and make university vlogs, but
I would never make university vlogs, but thank you for your suggestion.
But yeah, it's kind of like free advertising almost, because, you know, it's people want to know about universities all the time, every year. People are getting admitted every year and they don't know what it's like necessarily, you know, especially people in the UK, they move to the university that they're going to. And so everyone wants to see and compare unis and that sort of thing. So it has made it constant. Like I have seen like my views say pretty consistent over time, even if I haven't made new videos, which is good, basically.
Okay, that is interesting to see that crucial moment when the views start going up, and you have exhausted all your friends, so it can't be that anymore. So that must have been pretty exhilarating when you realize that there was someone else you didn't know that wanted to watch your content. That is something I imagine was quite powerful.
Yeah, I think actually some of the most exciting things was having people comment on my videos and actually not just like, you know, spam content, but actually being like, oh, hey, I'm also at the university, or hey, I really liked your vlog. Hey, I'm considering the University of Manchester. Thank you for making this. And then I was like, whoa, you know, this is exactly why I wanted to make it. And look, people are actually finding it helpful and people are actually enjoying it just as I had hoped it would be, you know?
Okay, so now that we talked at length, I would say about your early... No, that's totally all right. That goes to show that your fears of not having nothing to talk about were totally wrong, and I was totally right. So But okay, so now we are a few months later. Well, actually, almost half a year later. And so your university vlogging experience has finished because your university experience has finished. But you're still publishing vlogs. You published quite a good vlog about walking in the Australian brush. I'm not. Oh Jesus, I'm not,
Australian bush.
English is not even my first language, and I'm super worried that I'm not. For example, before the recording, I was like, do not say like at every sentence because that is what you do. Do not curse because that is what you do a lot.
Don't worry, I do that too, and I'm a native English speaker, so.
Of course, but you're allowed because you're a native English speaker. But speaker, what? But when you're a non-native speaker, you have to uphold the language to a higher level, I think.
That's true, actually, yeah.
Talking about interesting stuff. So, your latest vlog that is gonna be up with this podcast, could you talk to me about it a bit? Because I think it's genuinely a pretty interesting idea and a pretty interesting execution. So, I think a lot of people would be interested in having insight onto that. So could you please start by explaining a bit what the concept of the vlog is and how you made it?
Okay, so the concept is basically me trying to be the person I wish I was for a week, which entails 4 rules that I set myself. So that was waking up and going to sleep early, that was going for a run, reading a book for an hour each day, and then also, what was the 4th one? Oh my gosh, yes. Staying off YouTube and Instagram. And basically, I decided to make the video because I recall a couple of months ago, actually, I had this video idea in Manchester. I was like, I want to make a video, but I also need to study, and what can I do to make a video and also be really productive at the same time? And I was like, well, why not the Be Productive challenge, which is kind of what the video is. And I'm kind of also making it at this time because as I was in Manchester, I was like, well, this is the time to be making university content because I'm here. I can't make this content anywhere else because you can't make university-related content when you're not at university. So I held off on the video until now. And it was because I just... sorry. I'm so sorry.
Don't worry. Since I am editing this episode and also all the other episodes that will come, maybe if this is successful, I have faith in my abilities to edit out all of the ums and ahs. If you, final listener, can still hear this exact section where I'm talking about how I am editing out all the ums and ahs, I have edited out all the ums and ahs. Otherwise, you won't hear this section because I will remove it. So, yeah.
Okay. Well, yes, as I was saying, I decided to make the video now because basically I've been in a bit of a slump of just not having any structure and just not being happy with who I am a bit also. And I think that's something that's been the case for a long time. I think there's always something that you want to change about yourself. Well, I hope that's not always the case, but I think that's the case for me, at least. And I also had the idea that this video might be popular because I think a lot of people can probably relate to procrastinating and not being productive and staying up late like I do. It was interesting. I thought that this video was going to be a sort of a funny, challengey video in that, you were going to watch me struggle and that was going to be funny. But in the end, I remember doing the reflection section of the video, which honestly was just me rambling and having no coherent sentences. But I remember doing the reflection section and I was just talking about how positive an experience it was in the end. And I kind of actually hope that this video does encourage people to set themselves some goals for the week and actually try and meet them. Not in a way that it's meant to be a challenge or anything, but just in a way that is actually helpful for people. Because I know for me that me lounging around every day and, staying up late and waking up late and not exercising and all that kind of stuff, they were all things that I wanted to fix about myself, but I never did. And I hated that I never did. And this challenge ended up really helping me sort of kick some of those habits a bit. I went for a run just before this podcast. And, the whole week felt so much better than some of the weeks I've had in the past. And so, I don't know, my kind of intentions for the video have somewhat changed. I do still hope it is a little bit funny, but at the same time, if people go away from it and actually, I don't know, do something they've been meaning to do and actually succeed in doing that and they feel better for it, then I am happy.
I want to ask first, of course, before you made this week of self-improvement, you of course sat down and decided what were the things you were gonna do. Why did you choose those things specifically? Like you said, was it like it's super obvious? For example, I'm going to sleep late. I don't want to go to sleep late every day, and so you decided to fix it, or were you like deciding what would make the best content and what would be most interesting to watch for people? Like, was it something that you were like, okay, this is a thing about myself that I need to fix, or were you like, this is a thing about people in general that I also suffer from, but people in general also suffer from, that can be interesting to watch?
I think it's both, because the things that I picked fit kind of both categories, I think. And I think, I don't know, it's sad to say that maybe a lot of us young people don't go to sleep early enough. And the thing is, especially with the sleep one, I mentioned this in the video, but like that's just been a constant struggle for me in, the last decade. I don't know, 2 decades, and I've lived only 21 years. So, but yeah, and it's always been something that has just affected all my days. And it sounds really dramatic, but it's true. Like everything is worse when you're tired. And so, especially with the sleeping one, I was like, that's got to be the first thing, And then exercise, I think that was just, that was also something I wanted to do, but I do think that is something that is quite applicable to a lot of people. And then social media, similarly, that was something that was also taking up way too much time, but also affects a lot of people. And then reading a book, that's just something more that I wanted to personally. I don't think that is going to be as... If it was just me trying to read a book for an hour each day, I don't think that would be as popular a video, to be honest.
Yeah, no, of course, it needs to be compounded with everything else too, because reading a book every day is not very hard. I would say it with all the respect, but reading a book an hour every day on itself is not very hard. But the thing that makes it interesting is that you were fixing a lot of things at the same time. I haven't seen the video yet because it's still in editing, but the idea is that I think your video will be interesting because it is more than one thing. You are like, okay, this week is the week I fix all these problems I see in myself. And the second question I wanted to ask is, this is being recorded a few days after you finished the week. What did you decide, okay, no, it is too much, I'm gonna do it the old way, if anything, and what instead did you keep? For example, you said you went for a run earlier, so I think physical exercise has stayed.
Yeah, well, if I'm gonna be honest, I went to sleep pretty darn late last night. 2:30, which isn't as bad as usual sometimes, but still not good. I have deleted the YouTube app off of my phone purely because I think my phone is like one of the most accessible things for me, especially at night where I'm just like, oh, well, why not just watch 3 more hours of YouTube? And I don't know, because I was already feeling really dissatisfied in like social media and just consuming it, to be honest. Even though I've downloaded Instagram back onto my phone, I've just found it not as appealing as I did. Even more so now, going back, the initial excitement of being back on it and then just being sort of disappointed, in the fact that it's sometimes quite a bit of a waste of time. Let's just be honest.
Probably in the week you broke the feedback loop, right? And then after the week you realized that social media wasn't as, I wouldn't say appealing, but you wouldn't want to dedicate that much time to it anymore, right? So it was like some... Are you familiar with a YouTuber, podcaster who's called CGP Grey?
I am not.
Okay, so basically they make like informative videos, and they also have... a few podcasts, and they have been having some interesting ideas in the past. One of the ideas they had is that they were worried that the constant exposure to social media, not just in the form of YouTube, but also, for example, Reddit and in general, listening to podcasts even, he was worried that this was decreasing their attention span. And so they decided to stop that. And I think they went for like 6 months without Reddit, without YouTube, without listening to podcasts, just making podcasts. If they needed to do research for a video, they would prefer doing it like on physical books in physical libraries. And the sentence you said, when you went back to Instagram, you didn't find it as appealing. It struck me as very similar to what they said, that after the initial period where you need to adjust, your brain kind of retrains to accept the new situation, and then you don't need the feedback loop of constant checking your Instagram, refreshing the page anymore. And that is really interesting to me, because I think a lot of people struggle with, knowingly or not, they struggle with social media. I wouldn't say addiction, but
kind of, yeah.
If this podcast has a description, I will leave a link to the vlog where CGP Grey talks about it. I still haven't decided where to put the podcast, so it's like nothing is being decided yet, because I don't even know if the episode will be good. Like, just because you have interesting ideas, it doesn't mean you can translate them onto an interesting medium for others to consume. So I don't know, we will see. You said that your sleep has been a thing that has been bothering you for a long time, and that you were able to fix it, even though we'll still need to see if it holds. So during this week, have you tried some apps, like, I don't know, those apps that limit your phone after a certain amount of time? Like, I think you have an iPhone, so in iOS you can set like that after a certain time that it just doesn't allow you to use some apps. Do you have like a sleep app that tells you when to go to sleep or something like that? Did you try those options, or was it like just self-imposed, I'm going to sleep now, without any help from your devices?
Well, for the last week when I was doing the challenge, I didn't. Well, actually, no, I have downtime set on my iPhone, and I also have social media and entertainment restrictions on, but they're too easy to just click ignore limit and it's just gone, you know? Like, it's literally, I need like self-control or cold turkey to block me out of the app, not just, oh, you've reached the limit, do you want to see more of this? You know?
There is a big button that says extend the limit right below the button that says you have reached the limit.
Exactly.
So that's not very helpful. I don't know if it exists anymore, but there was an app that was like, when you reached the limit, it was like your phone was a brick. Even resetting your phone did nothing, which is very dangerous. So I wouldn't recommend it to everyone. But if you're struggling with this kind of thing and you aren't going in the neck of the woods where it could be useful to have your phone anytime soon, I would suggest maybe trying it.
Yeah, I have like on my laptop self-control that blocks me out of websites and that sort of thing on my computer, and I did try uninstalling it once and it still keeps going. So don't bother if you've got that. But I tried to Google how to, like, you know, rewrite the code or whatever. I don't know, because I'm not a tech wizard at all. Couldn't do it. Just had to wait it out, guys.
Of those 4 things, would you say then that sleeping was the worst? Like, was the hardest to do of all 4?
Well, if you've come from my video, you'll know that I kind of failed.
Wait, what?
In the sense that... Should have watched my video first.
Yeah, of course I didn't watch your
yet.
video. It doesn't exist yet. It's just a sparkle in your computer's memory drive.
Again, yeah, as I said in my video, now that I'm establishing this, I didn't wake up at 5 a.m. every day, and I didn't really get into a proper schedule of sleeping on time because I went pretty cold turkey in, you know, like I went from 3 a.m. to, like, I tried to ease myself in a little, like I think for 2 days before that I went to sleep at like 12 something, but that's not enough to, you know, make you want to go to sleep at 9 p.m. That was the hardest in the sense because I think it takes a long time for yourself to adjust to going to sleep many hours earlier than you're used to. I did also find running initially quite hard, and I knew that I had to run, and almost every day I left it to the latest I could leave it. So, you know, just before sunset, I would go for a run, and I'd procrastinate the whole day running, but I would do it. And now, I think at least, for example, because I did go for a run today, I think especially with exercise, it is one of those things that does get easier as you do it more often. And so towards the end of the week, like the very end, I knew I could do it, and so that made me more motivated to actually go out and do it, because at the start of the week it was sort of one of those things where I was like, I'm gonna die, like I definitely cannot do this, I will feel horrible, you know? Whereas at the end of the week I was like, I can do this, I just need to actually do it. And then reading, definitely the easiest thing. Got a bit addicted to reading.
Again, avid readers, we're not picking you out. We don't want to insult you, but yeah, reading a book is pretty tame compared to the other stuff.
Well, I don't know. For me, I never set aside the time to read, and so it was more just like setting myself a goal. And I thought it would bring it in with all the other things because also with the lack of social media and YouTube, I had more time on my hands to fill.
Yeah, that's the
And,
thing. You
I
don't
did have-
realize how much time it, like, all those things eat away from your day. Like, okay, finish your thought, then I have a question.
What was my thought? Oh no, I was just gonna say that, yeah, I really don't consume like video content other than YouTube these days. I don't watch the TV and I don't have Netflix or anything like that. So I would say though that not being able to watch YouTube, it did make me want to like watch video content because I just had no other outlet for that. And even though reading book is very enjoyable, I mean, I'm pretty sure, isn't it like a scientific fact that watching like TV uses less brain cells than when you're sleeping or something like that? Don't trust my word on that quote unquote scientific evidence. But yeah, I do think that like consuming video content is probably one of the most like relaxing, mind numbing, lack of stress things that you can do. So I did kind of miss that.
Yeah, so you didn't continue with the ban on YouTube, of course. You lifted the ban and
No.
you're consuming. But are you
I did
are you
lift the
consuming
ban.
less of it now? Like, are you consuming, I don't know, 20% less, 50% less than you did before the week?
It's hard to say because I literally didn't watch any of my subscriptions for a week. They had banked up, and so I had all these videos
You have the backlog,
that
of course.
you know, there were quite a few videos that I wanted to watch. So today I don't think was a good day. I think I spent a bit too long on YouTube. And then yesterday was better. But I don't know. I think it's too early to tell yet.
You need to settle back into the new routine. Like, every routine needs an adjustment period before, of course. So you need to finish your backlog of all the videos you need to watch, and then after that you will see if it has changed or not. So it may take a while, of course. Have you ever tried time tracking?
No, I don't know what that is.
Okay, so let me introduce you to the fabled word of time tracking. So time tracking means, well, in the basic form, it's just a spreadsheet where you put times, but I have an app, for example, for time tracking, and basically it means record how much time you spend on certain things each day. Time tracking allows you to see where you spend your time, basically. Like, it's pretty self-explanatory. So for example, I have an app on my phone and iPad and computer that I can trigger to record, for example, I don't know, lecture time. When I am listening to lectures, I switch that timer on. When I study, I have another timer. I have a timer for playing video games. I have a timer for reading. I have a timer for cleaning the house and stuff. And that allows you to kind of see patterns that you weren't aware of. That usually, because for example, usually you say, oh, I'm just gonna check my Instagram before leaving the bed in the morning, right? And you always think that it takes 5 minutes, while when you time it, it takes more like 20 minutes, because maybe you into a conversation, you reply to someone, and checking the mails is the same thing. Checking mails always takes 5 minutes in your head, but it's not like that. And I think YouTube has an inherent capability to do that, because if you go into options, they tell you how much time you spent in the past week, I think, or something like that.
Oh my gosh, no.
So that is a pretty horrifying thing. And also, I just remember you have an iPhone, so you have this capability in the OS because you have screen time, which basically is this thing. Like, it measures how much time you spend on these things. And I bring it up because it's for any imaginary listener out there, all two of them, that want to maybe improve their habits because they think like they don't have enough time to do stuff. I would suggest, if you're the kind of person that is into time tracking, you can gain a lot of insight into that. For example, I discovered that having breakfast, which is a thing that I thought took 10 minutes every time, took like 45 minutes every time, because while I was having breakfast, I was like checking my mails and I don't know, maybe putting on a YouTube video to watch for later, and like replying to messages. And so what I thought was a pretty insignificant time expenditure became actually a significant time loss, because I just didn't have the cognition of how much time was passing.
Okay, so I want to ask you a question. So you've actually practiced time tracking.
Yeah.
Has it helped? Or have you just acknowledged your failures?
Yes, I actually let me grab my time tracking data. I have had this up for I think 3 years now. So there is a lot of data in it. For example, I can look at my monthly data and see that under exam sessions, my study time is way, way higher, of course, right? But then if I look at other stuff, for example, for some reason, during exam sessions, the time I spend preparing, cooking food, eating, and washing the dishes and stuff is way higher as well. And what I'm thinking is that when I'm studying a lot, cooking and eating lunch or dinner or stuff is almost a break, and so I extend it unknowingly because I had no idea of that. I had no idea before I did time tracking. So, of course, your question was, have I done something about it? Well, yes, I am consciously trying, for example, to not slack off when I'm eating dinner. And it's not like I start dinner, then I'm like, oh yeah, let me reply to a message and stuff. And so dinner goes by and 90 minutes are passed. So some things are easier than others to fix. But I think the biggest ever quality of life improvement I had when time tracking is that I set my time tracking app to send me a notification when my video games timer has been on for 45 minutes. And I cannot tell you, I am a person that likes video games pretty much, and the kinds of video games I like are very engrossing. Like, you start playing and then 4 hours have passed and you have no idea how you got there. So having a timer literally saved hours of my break days. So it has helped me. I have done something about it for sure.
Well, that's good then.
Well, thank you very much. Now that I have your approval, I am over the moon. I have Mel's approval, and that's all good with the world now. That's it.
My approval is it should not be the highest standard of validation. Honestly, I just blabber on about meaningless things. I'm not very coherent, to be honest. If you saw my editing, the amount of cuts in it is ridiculous. In one sentence, it's cut 5 times because of all the ums.
After I've edited this episode, I will be very much on the same page, because since I have to edit your speech as well, your voice as well, I'm gonna be very much aware of any time you ramble about and stuff. So
sorry about that.
To me, starting this podcast was also okay. I have wanted to do a podcast with somebody since years ago, but you're the first person gullible enough to let me do it. But one reason I wanted to do this, apart from the obvious, is that I also want to learn editing, audio editing. And so to me, there is value also in the editing part. And before you ask, yes, of course, I have also a time tracking timer for audio editing and video editing, so that I know how much time I spend editing this podcast. So you will have the exact number. To me, this is a 3-pronged fork, basically, stabbing into this meaty podcast. And the first reason is that, I don't know, quality time with Mel. This is my way to arrange a conversation with a friend. The second reason is that I want to get better at editing. And third reason is that finally I get to do a podcast. And maybe it will be good, I don't know.
So wait, you said aside from the obvious, and then you went into audio editing. What is the obvious?
Oh yeah, you're right. The obvious is creating content that other people can, I don't want to say consume, because consume content is very bad.
Appreciate.
But other people can, Italian, rush it out for a bit. Okay. So to me, making a podcast is also about making content for other people to listen to in this case. I have always been a pretty creative person and pretty driven person, and I've always wanted to make content for other people to enjoy. I said before that I have a YouTube channel since I was 14. The YouTube channel exists right now. It has only one video, but I would like to do more videos for YouTube as well. So this is also a project I'm juggling at the moment, because I would like to maybe do YouTube content as well. I think a lot of people that produce content have this drive to have other people see or hear what they do. I think it's like that for you as well, that you are happy that other people are seeing what you made and are appreciating work that you put into something. My hope is that maybe I will be able to fill my YouTube channel soon with stuff as soon as I figure out what to put in it.
Please do, so that I can plug you.
Okay, so I've just passed the 1 hour mark, which is, I think, more than enough material to start for the pilot episode. So Mel has a YouTube channel, which is called
Dear Old World.
And I don't know. We'll see how it goes. The editing will take a while.
Do we want to close? Don't we want to say something? Don't we want to say something to close? Like, thanks for listening.
Okay, give me your best closing remark for the podcast. 3, 2, 1, go.
If you're feeling guilty or regretful about something, or if you're just not having the best day, this is one of my favorite quotes. It's from Anne of Green Gables. Tomorrow is a new day with no mistakes in it yet. So I hope that helps in some way, and I hope that you guys have a great week.